In general then, we can explain deviations from the mean to the extent that those deviations are predicted by the regression line. This is a visualization of all the green parts. If you do the same, if you apply the same logic to all 7 subjects in the sample, then those are all the pieces of variation that we can explain. So what you can do is you can calculate those. You can calculate for every subject how much does their predicted number of accidents differ from the average number of accidents. How much does it lie above or below the mean? And once we square those and add them all up, we have what is known as the explained variation in the sample. We also call this thing the sum of squares regression. That is because it's the part of the variation that can be explained by the regression line, by the regression model. Yeah, so we would do -2 squared. That's the part of that's the deviation of the first individual that we could explain, and so on. For all people, we take the deviation of their predicted number of accidents from the mean of the dependent variable. It then turns out that the explained variation is 12 in this situation. The same thing you can do with the red parts. You can say, well, we have some deviations that we can't quite explain, and when you think about this for a second, those are just the residuals. The residuals express how far an individual person deviates from our prediction, also from the regression line, and that's simply a residual. For example, if we look once again at participant number 6, so at the very top of the graph, they caused even more accidents than we expected, and that means they were, in this case, by 4 accidents above the regression line. That's a residual. That's a part of their deviation that we cannot explain. Therefore, if you square all those residuals and you add them all up, you have the unexplained variation. By now, it should come as no surprise that this thing is also known as the sum of squares residual. The sum of squared residuals, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Square and sum all the residuals. That gives you the unexplained variation, and it is going to be 40 in this scenario.